What's going on, traders? We got a lot to talk about. What an insane day. Let's get straight into it. So, triple Qs, all right? Triple Qs, your key level here was 512. We talked about this in the last video. 512. Once we broke below 512 and actually held 512, we headed towards 510. We had a hard time getting below 510, and then finally we broke below 510. And now we are heading towards that 505 target that I was talking about. In case you don't believe me, these guys right here, this is where we're heading. No doubt in my mind that that's going to happen. I think it goes without saying considering where we are. There's also a gap that needs to be filled at around 505.8. So I want you guys to keep that in mind as well. So the question is, do we bounce from there? There's very much a possibility we do bounce from there, but I don't think it's going to last long. Okay, so we could see a move like this where we pretty much gap fill, head back towards 510, 509, somewhere around that range, and then we start to see a move much lower and start really just taking out all these gaps to the downside, especially this island reversal gap right here, where you pretty much have two gaps open simultaneously. So that's something I'm definitely going to be looking out for, and I think the market is going to want to take out before we potentially see um, newer highs or anything like that, or even think about things like that. Okay, so that's what I want to see happen. This area right here just really get filled out before I get too excited about potentially seeing more upside. All right, so that's what I'm looking at in regards to the triple Qs. NQ. All right, so NQ, we're looking at the daily time frame on the NQ. We talked about this in the last video, this rising wedge pattern, very bearish pattern. And I told you guys, we are slowly rolling back into this pattern. And what do we say when we roll back into patterns? Chances are you're going to continue in that direction. And so we pretty much broke out the rising wedge, right? And this is why I love rising wedge patterns because they're just so predictable. They're so easy to trade. I mean, congratulations to Discord members who traded triple Qs with me. That was just such easy money. Discord link is in the description below. But we attempted to break out, and as you guys can see here, we zoom in. You see weakness, all right? You see that bulls are just non-existent. Bears are slowly trickling in. They slowly got us back into the rising wedge. They rolled us back in, and now we're looking at potentially more downside on the NQ. And so your key level here still remains the same. You want to see us get below 121,000 and 20,960, 20,950, give or take. Those are the levels you want to get below, right? And you want to get these guys out of here. Okay, this is what you want to get rid of. Okay, so this is the level that I'm looking for. Once you break below this support at around 20,960, you are pretty illiquid. All right, you're pretty illiquid all the way down to about 20,500. And we talked about this before, right? Around this area right here. These guys right here, very, very annoying area. A lot of turbulence in this area. You see it here. Bulls and Bears just had a fight here. And it looks like nobody really won. Ultimately, Bulls ended up winning. But I mean, this area right here, this is where you want to get to, and this is where you want to stop these guys out of their position. You pretty much want to stop these guys out of position so that we can go much lower if you're looking to be bearish. These guys here as well. And you saw the attempt right here, right? You saw us break down. We tried to stop these guys out of position so that way we can pretty much confirm that this rising wedge is going to play out. But we failed, and then we start to break higher, and now it looks like we're going to make another attempt at this area down here, stop these guys out of position, and that way we could possibly head much lower. So two things I'm looking for here, maybe three. Okay. I want to break below the support level at around 20,960 for more downside. That way we enter this liquid area right here, very liquid area right here. And then second, I want to see us stop these guys out of position. I'm pretty much saying that I want to see us break further down, therefore creating a much lower low and stop these guys out of position as well. And third, I want to see us break below this rising wedge pattern. And then there's a good chance that we are going to head much, much lower, and we start heading towards this gap fill at around 19,500. So those are the things I'm looking for on the NQ. So pay attention to that. Keep that in mind. Let's look at the SPY. All right, so the SPY. So I mean, I'm calling this like clockwork, guys. I mean, you got to give me a like and subscribe because the way I am calling this stuff is insane. Okay. Daily time frame. You zoom out here. Okay. You zoom out, you see it here. This channel that we've been trading in for like a century now, right? We rejected here, we bounced here, we rejected here, we rejected here, bounced here, so on and so forth. You get the idea. And then I told you guys in the last video that we are heading back to this area up here, and look what happened. Whoa, 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 whoa. Don't want to mess that up. All right, so look what happened. Okay, we hit the top of the channel, right? We hit the top of the channel, and then we broke back into this much smaller channel. You see it here. I'm not making this stuff up. You have a smaller channel here, which is this 4 hour channel. And then you have this huge daily channel. You hit the top of the daily channel. You rolled back into the pattern. Again, we talked about rolling into patterns. Chances are you're going to continue in that direction. And so we roll back into the pattern, and now there's a good chance that we're going to head much lower on the SPY. And what did I tell you guys? 585 is the target I am looking for. So if we get below 593, chances are we're heading to 590. After that, you're looking at a move towards 585, which is right here in this area. Now, I will say, once we hit 585, I think we're going to get a bounce. Okay. Now, I know there's a gap right here. I will say that much. I know this gap needs to be filled, but I think that's going to lead into a trap. Okay. And I could be wrong. Okay. So I don't want you to take it at face value. I want you to have some type of confirmation, but I think we're going to see another bounce from here, especially when NVIDIA earnings is coming up. I think we're going to see one of these moves. We head back higher, possibly see a move towards newer highs all over again. Because what do I tell you guys? Anytime the market drops, we're just making more room for upside. Okay. Keep that in your mind. All right. So again, I wait for confirmation here, but I just don't think we're going to head much lower than 585. Obviously, we're going to tease below 585, but I don't think it's going to be something that's last. Okay, I think we're going to have one more bounce. Maybe Nvidia earnings saves the day next week, Wednesday. But then after that, I think the market is going to see more downside. So there is a possibility for another jump in the market. I will say that much. So I want you guys to keep that in mind and not get too greedy when it comes to downside. So really pay attention to 585. All right. So let's look at the VIX. All right, so let's look at the VIX. So we talked about this, right? We talked about the VIX going to 12, and did it actually hit 12? I don't even think it hit 12. I think it just trapped the whole universe, right? I mean, I guess the VIX didn't really do much today. I mean, we are on the daily time frame. Let's actually go to the 4 hour. So right here, right? So the VIX is breaking down, right? It broke down, but now it's going for a retest of 14.5. So I would definitely pay attention to the VIX. This can easily lead into a trap, but if the VIX does one of these moves, just retest and then breaks down, then that's obviously a good sign for the market or a good sign for bulls, right? So we want to see the VIX just pretty much break higher, hit about 15, possibly form some type of inverse head and shoulders pattern here, and then break higher, something like that. If you're looking to be what bearish, right? And just in case you think I'm like trying to force it or making things up, I mean, you can see it here, right? You have a potential shoulder here, have your potential head right here. So if we break higher towards 15 and we start consolidating here on the VIX, it makes sense, right? It makes sense heading into NVIDIA earnings that we could consolidate next week heading into NVIDIA earnings before we see any type of move either to the upside or the downside. So this is a potential move. It's not set in stone. We can easily just do the exact opposite where we just do something like this, right? We just pretty much retest, maybe tomorrow just opens red and then boom, the market just turns green all over again. So those are the two possibilities. I'm not going to say which one I'm really rooting for. I guess it doesn't really matter to me. But what I will say, if we're looking in the Discord, that we do have VIX 17 calls for January 22nd, 2025 with a 1 million premium. So whales are trading the VIX to the upside. So I will say that much. You had like 17 calls. I believe there was an 18 call that was alerted as well. So the bot is alerting that whales are trading this thing to the upside. So we'll see what happens. All right. So that's what I got for the VIX. 12 is still a possibility here. I will say that much, about 12.2, 12.3, somewhere around that range. So I will keep that in mind. And I encourage you to keep that in mind as well, that that is very much a possibility. We hit 12, that's when I think the market is really, really going to tank. But we'll see what happens. All right. So next I want to look at the IWM, the Russell. And the Russell has just been making us tons of bags in the Discord. I mean, you just love to hate the Russell because of how it trades, but I mean it's just such a no-brainer. Okay, you had this. I talked about this in the last video. You have this head and shoulders pattern, right? You have the shoulder here. We're looking at the 4 hour time frame, by the way. Shoulder here, head here, shoulder here. You broke the neckline. I mean, super clean break, right? You break the neckline with a bearish engulfing candle. You retest the neckline, super clean. We re-entered trades right here, so we were already in a trade at around 242. 240, somewhere around that range. We took profit right here, at around about 235, between 235 236, right? We got back in at the retest. I said this like clear as day in the Discord. I said I want to see us retest about 230 240 239. Got that retest, entered trades again, broke back down, took profit all over again. So IWM, I definitely think it's going to head much lower. Okay. And this is why I was kind of leaning towards the bearish side in the market because we were constantly seeing whales, and I've showed this over and over in the Discord. Whales were constantly trading the downside on IWM. Look at all these puts that came in today. You got 221 puts for December 20th, 222 puts for December 20th, 223 puts for December 20th. Now, let's actually check the ask over bid. I mean, look at the ask over bid on the 221 puts. I mean, this is insane. 50,000 above the ask, right? And then you have these 222 puts. Let's check this out. A little bit above the bid, but still something there, right? And then you have higher bearish volume. I don't know if you guys can see this part, but you have 50K in bearish volume versus 13K in bullish volume. I mean, it's insane just how many puts are just coming in on IWM. I mean, and you see it across the board. Let's check out these 230 puts. Look at the 230 puts. Insane, guys. So definitely keep this in mind. I mean, and then the premium is insane on these 221 puts for December 20th. You got 16.8 million premium on this thing. You got 231 puts for December 13th. I mean, this is this is a field of gold right now. I mean, I might actually trade some of these. This is insane. So definitely pay attention to the Russell. I definitely think Russell is going to head much lower. I mean, I think that goes without saying. Obviously, it's going to fill this gap up towards 227 is what I'm looking at. So that's my first target. And if we zoom out, you guys see here, let's go to the daily time frame so we can get a better view. You zoom out, you see it here, rejection, 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 and then you finally just broke above this level. I guess they got tired and they just gapped that thing up. And then, I mean, look at the 4 hour time frame. Rejection, 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 rejection. I mean, clear as day, super clean. So if we head back to this level, I do imagine the market is going to bounce. I don't think the IWM is just going to break straight through here, despite what the options chain is showing. Options chain is showing. I do think we're going to see a bounce, and then after that bounce, that's when we see possibly those plays on the options chain on unusual wells that start playing out. So possibly something like this, where we just break down towards 227, retest about 232, 231, maybe even go as high as about 235. I do definitely think that's possible as well. And then we start seeing another move down. So something to pay attention to in regards to the Russell. Let's talk about Tesla. Tesla. What a day Tesla has. It was only a matter of time. I mean, I, I don't think anyone should be surprised by this move. Look how illiquid we are to the downside on Tesla. This thing was screaming. I mean, this is insane. So right here, right, and I accidentally deleted it, but right here, okay, right here. This was a mean bull trap right here. Absolute evil bull trap. And I talked about this in the last video. I think I did. But I even talked about this in Discord just how evil this bull trap was. You attempted to break out, right? And you pretty much rejected around 363, and then bulls just got decimated here, and now you're seeing Tesla break completely down. And I mean, look at the daily time frame here. I mean, we zoom out. I'm actually on a 30 minute, but look at the daily time frame here, guys. Nothing but a liquid. And so easily Tesla's heading to 300. Lowest I'm looking at is about 294, 290. I definitely think that's possible, but easy. Tesla's heading to 300. We're already in a trade on it in Discord. We got in at around, I want to say 310, between 310, and then we added more at around 314, 315. And this was a no-brainer. Once Tesla gave up about 318, it was a no-brainer. Heading much lower, 300 is my target. That's all I have to say about Tesla. Lowest I'm looking at is about 294, 290. All right. Now I will say this much. Um, by next year, I do think Tesla is going to double in price. I definitely do. Okay. So I will say that much. All right. So something to keep in mind if you are someone who is a fan of Tesla, Elon, whatever the case may be, I definitely think Tesla deserves to be at a much higher price evaluation. So we'll see. All right. But other than that, I think I dragged this video long enough. I guess we can look at Bitcoin real quick before we call it a day. But yeah, Bitcoin, definitely pay attention to Bitcoin. I told you guys at around 90 something K. I think it was like 95K, 94K. I haven't really looked at Bitcoin today, but yeah, you see Bitcoin just breaking down as well. So pay attention if you are the type of trader or person who looks at Bitcoin as a leading indicator. I don't blame you. If Bitcoin starts to head lower, then there's a good chance that the market is going to head lower. And I think Bitcoin is going to need to retest 75K. Lowest I'm looking at is about 70K. All right, so that's what I'm looking at in regards to Bitcoin. That's all I have. Discord link is in the description below. If you want to get in on my trades, on our bots, trade our bots, trade our AIs, all that fun stuff. We also have a free Discord link in the description below as well. I don't put out signals in that Discord or anything like that, but we do, talk, we have fun, we chat it up, all that fun stuff. So if you want something like that, little community where you just chat it up and talk about stocks or whatever, feel free to join that Discord as well. Other than that, that's all I have for this video. Until the next video, traders, have a good one.